Well, spring officially starts at 2:58 this afternoon, and if you're a pet owner itching to get into the garden, Gary Lewis from Phoenix Perennials is here with how to plant a pet-friendly garden. Welcome back, Gary.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, and with Ramsey.
With Ramsey, I picked him because I know he's not going to eat any of these plants.
That's good.
And a lot of people don't realize that some plants can be poisonous to our dear pets.
It's actually a little bit surprising how many poisonous plants there are out there in the gardens. When you start looking at a list of poisonous plants, you start wondering what isn't poisonous.
Exactly.
You know, rhododendrons, azaleas, hostas, lilies, delphiniums, foxglove.
It seems like all the pretty ones are poisonous.
It's really kind of crazy. There are a lot of plants that are poisonous to mammals in general, so to dogs, cats, and to humans. But you know, luckily we're not going around making salads out of our garden plants, right? So we don't really want to eat this. It's not going to taste good, and same for our pets. So pets, you know, Ramsey here, he wants maple bacon.
Yes.
Right?
He sure does.
He wants his doggy treats and his milk bones, and cats want their little treats as well. So luckily pets are not that interested in plants, although sometimes they're curious. So it is good as a pet owner just to be a little bit aware of some of the poisonous plants that are out there in the world, just so you can be careful, and if you see any weird symptoms, you can kind of research it.
And then you're aware. So you have some plants that are poisonous to pets, but also there are alternatives.
So we're going to look at some poisonous plants and then some alternatives.
Perfect.
So at this time of year, you know, the Daphnes are starting to bloom in gardens, as well as we're going to be looking at Rhodos coming into bloom soon, except both of these groups are poisonous.
No.
Now, of course, Rhodos fill our parks, and our dogs are not chewing on Rhodos in the parks, really. But, you know, it's good to be careful, especially if you've got puppies and stuff like that.
Very curious puppies.
Exactly. They like to chew a little bit. So, you know, Daphnes give us beautiful fragrance, but one alternative would be to go with the Sarcococa, the sweet box, which gives us beautiful fragrance. And, you know, you can't really replace some of these things entirely. Like Rhodos are pretty amazing, but camellias are safe.
Also beautiful.
So why not go for camellias? Or this is a bay laurel. So this is what you would use for your soups and your tomato sauces and stuff. So it's also an evergreen plant that you can shape, and it's a good alternative that is not poisonous. And it's edible to us as well. Exactly. Now for sunny, hot, dry spots, euphorbias or the spurges, they are also poisonous. They've got a milky sap, which some humans can have a little bit of reaction to it too, like a skin reaction.
Right.
It is not going to taste good. That's another point too. A lot of these things that are poisonous don't taste good. So pets are not, you know, one little nibble and they're just going to leave it alone. But if you want to be safe, you could go for the wallflowers. The wallflowers also love hot, dry, sunny locations. They love poor soils, just like the spurges. And these ones are also evergreen. They don't have the colorful foliage of the spurges, but they've got flowers for months on end. They just bloom and bloom and bloom. They also attract pollinators and butterflies.
Oh, well,
so
then
why not? Definitely
animal lovers will love that.
Yeah.
All right, and into our parks and everywhere else. I know that I have ivy everywhere in my garden.
Ivy, English ivy, that's all over Stanley Park and all over our parks and all over, it's also poisonous. So, but you know, dogs are going to pee on this, right? But they're not going to be. They're not going to be poisoned by peeing on it. But if you want some alternatives, you could go with Bergenia, which is a nice evergreen, or Pachysandra, or our native Salal.
Okay,
these would be good alternatives.
Good to know. And I planted my bulbs already because I did it before the first frost, but other people might be planting.
You're such a good gardener.
I tried some bulbs, and they are definitely poisonous.
Yeah, the thing, a lot of bulbs are poisonous. So daffodils, tulips, hyacinths, although, you know, the squirrels eat all our tulips and they don't seem to be poisoned by them. So a lot of the time, too, it comes down to the quantities that pets are going to chew on. A little bit is not going to do anything, like when they eat chocolate, right? You know, they don't have a heart attack. But anyway, but it is good to be careful because a lot of bulbs are poisonous. Now, lilies and ornamental onions are poisonous to cats. So, but not to dogs. So you can plant lots of lilies in your garden and not be worried.
Okay, and really, really quickly, now that marijuana plants are legal in the city, an alternative would be grasses because they're poisonous.
So everybody can grow grass now in their inside and outside, but it's also poisonous to children as well as dogs and cats, so you want to be careful. So why not just plant a whole bunch of ornamental grasses? You could do bamboos, sedges, New Zealand flaxes. They have a really modern aesthetic. They're really easy to grow, and we know that cats and dogs like to chew on grasses every once in a while, and also they're really resilient. So if you have a rambunctious dog running around the garden, the grasses are really pliable and they're really not going to be damaged by a little bit of chewing or a little bit of running around and playing and balls perennials and stuff like that.
Well, thank you so much, Gary. Thank you for all these plants and their alternatives, and hope you plant a garden that your pets can be safe in. Scott?
Great stuff. Thanks, Ann.